So we'll go ahead and get started. Positive attitude, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Canadian Mental Health Association is a national charity. We've been around for over 100 years, as you can see, and we're one of the oldest not-for-profit charitable organizations in Canada still existing. So that's quite a coup de grace, like that's a feather in our cap, and we're quite proud of that. We help people access community resources to help them build resilience and to support people in their recovery from mental illness. That's what we're all about. And we work very hard with community and in really, in getting these things done. So we have 3 main offices in the province. Our provincial office is in Fredericton. We also have an office in Moncton and St. John. And then to cover all the rest of the areas of the province, other than Fredericton, Moncton, St. John, we have the Community Education Coordinator Program, CECs, of which I am one of. We're either 10 or 11, I can't even remember anymore. And we cover all the rural areas. So Marie-Cécile covers Kent County. I cover Westmoreland and Albert counties. And then Martha covers Sussex region and so on and so forth. So we're all over the place. But very happy to say that the whole province has coverage from CMHA of New Brunswick. So we're there, no matter where you are, we're there to support you. We have a peer support consultants program, which is provincial, and it ties in with the FACT teams that are run out of the mental health clinics. So we do have some peer supports. And then, of course, we have our Working Stronger Together program, which is an employment program based out of Charlotte County, which helps people either get work or get back to work when they're living with lived experience, mental illness. So it's an amazing program. It's very successful, and we're pretty excited. So, all right, so what is an attitude? Well, it's the way that you think and feel about someone or something. It's a feeling or a way of thinking that affects a person's behavior. So we have positive attitude and negative attitude. So if you're a positive person, you'll tend to have a positive outlook. You'll feel positive. You'll think positively. You'll have a positive behavior. However, if you're negative, well, then we know what that leads us to, right? And just a little statement here, 3 out of every 4 people are negative thinkers. 3 out of every 4. I was quite shocked when I heard that. I thought that was quite high. So, positive attitude is an inclination towards the positive aspects of any kind of situation. A positive attitude means that you approach unpleasantness in a more open and productive way. I'm just noting pleasantness. It doesn't look like it's spelled correctly, but I think it is. So positive thinking is not about ignoring reality. Its bad experiences and facing challenges will happen to both positive and negative people. So it's not that positive people never have something negative happen to them. It's how they choose to respond to it. Not react, but respond. So the difference is how individuals choose to perceive their experiences. So if you see it in a negative light, you'll most likely respond to it in a negative way. Can it be learned? Yes, a positive attitude can be learned. I've had a negative attitude most of my life. And the last few years, I've been working really, really hard to see things in a more positive light. I'm really happy to say that I've made some significant changes, especially of late, with my attitude. And I'm trying really, really hard now to see things in a more positive light and not get hung up on the things that I have no control over. So in other words, the only thing I have 100% control over is me. I cannot control 100% anybody else or anything else in my life. Me. So I'm tending to really be more aware of how I'm choosing to respond and react to certain situations. And I'm trying to do it in a more positive light. I'm trying to do my self-talk in a more positive light. All these kinds of things. And we're going to talk more about self-talk. So positive thinking, well, that's training one's mind to be aware of thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. It's also to anticipate happiness, health, and success, and to voluntarily allow thoughts, words, images that are conducive to positive results. So it's really a matter of of looking at our thoughts and our beliefs and our perceptions. How do you perceive the world out there? Do you think everybody's out to get you? Well, if you perceive it that way, then perhaps your behavior, your thoughts, your feelings and emotions are going to come out that way. If we look more towards, there's no misconception here. Life is what it is, and it's going to throw some things at us in life. But if we look towards health and success and happiness, then when life does throw us something, rather than look at it in a negative way, hopefully we'll be looking at it in a more positive way. Voluntarily allow thoughts, words, and images that are conducive to positive results. So we want to make sure that what's going on in our brain, it has a more positive outlook to it and a positive spin-off, so that you're going in that direction. Remember, it is possible, but it does take work and practice. All of this starts with our self-talk. Now, self-talk is a conversation that goes on in the back of your mind. It starts first thing in the morning till last thing at night before you fall asleep. And while I've been talking, you've had a conversation going in the back of your mind, and you're perhaps challenging some of the things that I'm saying. Maybe you're agreeing with some of the things that I'm saying, or you're disagreeing. And that's fine. That's absolutely okay. But the thought is, what I'm trying to show you is that there is that self-talk. The one person that you will speak to the most in your lifetime is you. You. You will speak the most to you than anybody else in your lifetime because of all that self-talk going on. What we need to do is be more aware of what that self-talk sounds like. Does it sound negative, or does it sound positive? And we can turn those thoughts around. We're capable of being able to do that. We'll look at that in a little bit. So self-talk is that endless stream of unspoken thoughts that are running through your head all the time. And it may contain both positive and negative thoughts. Absolutely. So self-talk is about our thoughts and may be based in logic or reason. And it may also contain misconceptions that you create because of a lack of information or past experience or automatic thoughts. So a lot of times when we say automatic thoughts, is because you've said things for so long or seen them in that certain way that they're just automatic now. And then we need to be careful because things become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in other words, if I keep telling myself I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, then eventually I'm going to be stupid. That is exactly what a self-fulfilling prophecy does. So, and our self-talk can do that to us. So we need to be more in tune. We need to be listening more and paying attention more to what self-talk is going through our minds, because we need to stop the negative self-talk. We need to get better control over it. So, reframing exercises. And reframing is simply learning how to think in a different way. All right? So it's turning negative into positive. So having to hand in a long, difficult assignment the next day, negative self-statement might be, there's just no way I can get this work done for tomorrow. Getting into a car accident. Oh, I'm a terrible driver. I'll never drive again. Being asked to dance, but not being a skillful dancer. I can't dance. I'll make a fool of myself. Losing your job. I'll never get another job. Moving to a new town, away from family and friends. Everything I care about is left behind. Breaking up with a person that you're in love with. There must be something wrong with me. No one else will want me. So what happens is we get these negative statements that we get going in our self-talk, and they hurt us. They hurt. Would you say those things to your best friend? Would you say them to your sister or your brother? No, we shouldn't say anything to ourselves that we wouldn't say to somebody else that we care for. We need to care for ourselves the way that we care for our loved ones. So, how do we turn negative into positive? Well, maybe the process is simple, but it takes time to practice. And negative thinking is a habit, and habits can be changed. We've also learned over time how our parents, how our caregivers would respond to situations is how they taught me to respond, or you to respond. So it's not saying that we have to keep doing it that way. What we need to do is recognize that perhaps there's a healthier way of doing it and going with that direction. So for an example, having to hand in a long and difficult assignment the next day. Negative self-statement would be, there's just no way I can get this work done by tomorrow. However, a positive statement might be, if I work very hard, I might be able to get it all done for tomorrow. Which statement do you think is going to have the most success? It's the positive one. It's gentler, it's kinder, it's motivating. A negative self-statement is it can be very, very hurtful. For an example, being asked to dance, but not being a skillful dancer. I can't dance, I'll make a fool of myself. Where a positive person might go, you know what, this is all for fun. Nobody's going to be looking at me anyways. I'm just going to get up and dance like nobody's watching, right? So it's a lot of it is the attitude. It's our attitude is going to make us a success in life, or it's going to hurt us and hold us back and pull us back. And now we're starting to see that. We're starting to see where that can happen. So can attitude predict behavior? Absolutely, when the person's attitudes are strong. So if someone has a highly favorable attitude towards gambling, well, they're going to be likely to buy lotto tickets or go to the casino. So in other words, I think, I don't think there's anything wrong with gambling at all. And I think it's okay. And you have to keep it within reason. And, you have to know your limits and so on and so forth. That person is going to actually gamble. There's no question. They'll buy lotto tickets. They'll go to the casino. So when the person shows a strong awareness of their attitudes, and when the person rehearses and practices for them. So perhaps somebody who's dead set against having ATVs running through national parks because of animals and so on and so forth, and they want the calmness and the peace and everything to say, if they're really strong about it and they've done protests and everything else, they're not going to ride an ATV because they have a very strong belief in that. However, if they just say that, that shouldn't happen, but they don't back it up with action, they probably will drive an ATV, a four-wheeler, whatever, okay? And the same as when the attitudes are relevant to the behavior. So it all comes around that you can actually predict what kind of behavior people will exhibit based on the situations and or events. So ample evidence exists that changes in behavior can precede changes in attitudes. So we have a strong need for consistency. We change our attitudes to make them more consistent with our behaviors. Okay? Repeatedly expressing attitudes increases their importance to us. So our attitudes are not completely clear, even to us. So we observe our own behavior and make inferences about it to determine what our attitudes should be. So, cognitive behavioral model. We use this. The goals of cognitive therapy is really to correct a client's faulty information processing, modify a client's dysfunctional beliefs that maintain maladaptive behaviors and emotions, and they provide clients with the skills and experiences that create adaptive thinking. So, for an example, our thoughts and beliefs. Let's start with that. What an individual thinks or believes about a situation, how the individual interprets an event. So it's the thought that comes into your mind. So wherever the thought comes from, oh, Bridget, I see you're raising your hand. I can't find the hand thing. So Bridget, can you type it under chat, please? I would appreciate it. So, okay, sorry, I went forward here a page. Okay, so we're looking at the thoughts and beliefs. So what an individual thinks or believes about a situation is going to obviously affect It's going to affect their emotions and their feelings, okay? So thoughts and beliefs, if it's a negative thought that comes in my head, it's going to affect my emotions and my feelings in a negative way. My mood and how I feel about a situation. Emotions are not necessarily based in logic, but they are influenced by our thoughts and beliefs about a situation. So my thought is a negative thought, or my belief is a negative belief. It's going to have a negative effect on my emotions, which thereby is going to have a negative effect on my behavior. Okay, so the individual's outward response to actions in response to a situation. So that's what we really have to be aware of, is that we have the situation. So anything that happens in an individual's environment, situations are outside of the individual's direct control, but they can be influenced by behavior. So the situation happens, and it's either going to go directly to my emotions and thoughts and then behavior, or it'll go to my emotions and then behavior, or it'll go to thoughts and beliefs and then emotions and behavior, or thoughts and beliefs and then behavior. So we have the situation. So obviously how we perceive the situation is extremely important right off the bat. If we see it in a more positive light, it will have a more positive effect on our thoughts and our emotions, our feelings and our emotions. So obviously, how we look at a situation or how we perceive a situation, how we interpret a situation has to be very important, okay? In basing our thoughts and our emotion, our feelings and emotions, so how that's going to affect. And ultimately, they will have an effect on our behaviors. So it's situations and then thoughts and our feelings and emotions and then our behaviors. So our behaviors will reflect how we felt about that situation or event. So if we thought about it and we feel that it was a negative situation, then we're going to exhibit negative behaviors. If we saw it as a positive thing, then we'll exhibit positive behaviors. Now, if negative behaviors come out, then it goes back to the situation was our negative behaviors. We feel bad about it. So our thoughts and our emotions are, we feel bad, we feel guilt, we feel sad, frustration, and then it keeps hitting our behaviors. So we just keep going around and around and around in a circle. Do you understand? We have a great program called Living Life to the Full. So it's one session a week for 8 weeks, and it's all about this cognitive behavioral therapy. So we really get to look at our thoughts and understand our feelings, how they affect our emotions, how they affect our behaviors, how it, all the outcomes that come, and it really gets you to look at life differently, at your thoughts differently. It gets you to challenge yourself on different situations. It's an amazing program. And if you have the opportunity to take it in your community, you really, really should. We are looking at offering it online, and I believe there's one going to be coming up that will be done as a webinar series. So if you haven't signed up and there's still room, then please sign up for it. And, it'll be well worth your time and your effort. It really, I took it the first time as a participant and I fell in love with the program. And that's how I knew that I wanted to be a facilitator of it, because it just made so much sense. It made so much sense. So, and I benefited a lot from it. So, yeah, so all in fun. So, okay, so our next slide is benefits of a positive attitude. So what kind of benefits does a positive attitude bring you? Increases your lifespan. It really does. It increases your lifespan. It lowers rates of depression and distress. Okay, I've already gone through 2 major depressions, and I know that the first time was definitely positive attitude played a part in it. And the second time, I wouldn't say it was so much my attitude. However, part of my recovery has definitely been positive attitude. I've really, really, really turned things around, and I'm looking at things in a much more positive light than I was, and I'm feeling 100% better for it. So there's really something to be said about, a positive attitude. It does have its benefits. A greater resistance to the common cold. Well, if you're not, if your immune system's not being challenged, if you're not getting run down, if you're not, getting frustrated and, feeling poor me and all these different things, your immune system is going to stay far healthier, and thereby it can much easier fight off common colds and flus and everything else that's going. So better psychological and physical well-being. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to be looking at the ways of behavior and the physical aspects of your body and everything. You're going to feel like you want to go for that walk. You're going to feel like you want to go for the workout. You're going to feel like you want to do Tai Chi. All these different things. And then when we do them, we feel 100% better, because, of course, every time that we exert physical energy, we're releasing chemicals, endorphins in our brain, and they're like a happy pill, natural happy pill. We have that in us. And so every time you do that, you're releasing that chemical, those endorphins, and you feel really, really good. And psychologically, it affects you too, so that you keep looking for that. Your body will keep looking for it. It reduces the risk of death from cardiovascular disease. Well, absolutely. If you feel better, you're thinking better, you're not hung up on the negatives, and you're exercising and you're looking at life in a different, absolutely, cardiovascular heart disease should certainly be lower for you. You shouldn't be dealing with the stress levels, the high stress levels, the high blood pressure, all those other things that come with a negative attitude. Better coping skills during hardships and times of stress. Let me ask you a question. If you're really, really tired, you're frustrated, you're down, you get the blues, you're into negative thinking, do you think that you're going to be able to come up with healthy coping skills that can help you move forward? And no, you can't. You can't. If you're lacking of sleep, all of that kind of stuff, it all affects you emotionally, mentally, psychologically. It has that effect on you. And we can't think clearly, and we can't do things that are good for us. And this whole thing is really based on resiliency. And resiliency is simply being able to be knocked down, get back up, learn something. Okay, what did life try to teach me there? What was the lesson that I was supposed to learn? You learn, and then you go back at it and you keep trying it until you finally get it. And that's called resilience skills. So every time that we get knocked down, we're able to get back up again and go back at it again. And it's extremely important for your mental health to build resiliency. So each time, look for the lesson. Don't sit back and get focused on, oh, well, I should have known better. Why did I even bother to try? I should have known that I was going to fail and I wasn't going to do it. It always happens to me, blah, blah, blah. We get ourselves caught in that negative attitude, and it just holds us there and it traps us there. If we can get out of that and get into the benefits, the positive attitude, then we're feeling better about everything. Well, that's not exactly the way I thought that was going to work out, but it did. So how do I make it work for me now? The same thing happened to two people. One looked at it negatively and stayed trapped, caught, stuck. The other one, okay, it's not what I thought was going to happen, but it did. So what can I learn from it? How do I make this work for me now? Wow, who's going to have more success? It's so important on your attitude. It's so important for your attitude. Aspects of your life impacted may include all these different areas. When we're talking about work-life balance, these kinds of things really take place. They take a part. So learning. Positive attitude can have a big impact on your learning. If you look at learning and say, oh, I'm too old to be learning something new, and oh, I don't know anything about that, and I don't know, I'm not a techie person, so there's no sense me even taking a course on technology because I'm going to fail it. I know I'm going to fail it because I don't know nothing about it. I'm stupid when it comes to that. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you go in with that attitude, that's exactly what's going to happen. But you sit back and instead you look at it and say, now here's a new opportunity for something for me to push myself, my boundaries a little bit, to expose myself to something new, to perhaps learning something new, and to be able to have more skills. It's all in how you look at it. So the person who goes into it with a more positive attitude will be far more successful than the person who looked at it with a negative attitude. Spirituality, social participation, leisure, health, financial security, work, family life are all affected by a positive or negative attitude. They are going to have its effect. So, more benefits of a positive attitude: expecting success, not failure. Okay, so you're looking towards having success, not failure. It gives you the strength not to give up, to keep working at it until you get it, instead of just giving up. Do you feel good when you give up? No, you don't. Do you feel good when you didn't give up and you kept at it and finally succeeded? Oh, you feel like $1 million. It's great. You regard failure and problems as opportunities. Absolutely. Right? Just the example I used for the learning. You believe in yourself and your abilities. You don't think that you're going to just blow it all and all you've got are disabilities, things that hold you back. You look for solutions, not for more problems. You look for solutions. And you show more self-worth and self-confidence. Yes, because you're more successful. And your success should be based on you. It's not that you're trying to compete against other people. Oh, I'll never be as smart as her or him. I don't know why I even bother to try. No. It's got nothing to do with that. It's trying to take you and improving yourself a little bit every day. I've always got a self-help book or a workbook or something on the go. I'm always working on something. And for the longest time, it's really been based a lot and focused on my self-esteem, because I've had very low self-esteem for all my life. And I'm still working at building it up. But, you know, I'm constantly looking at ways that I can become a better person. Not for anybody else, but for me. So that's, you know, that positive attitude's been really, really helping me. And I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing the benefits because I've been working at it now for quite a while. So I'm seeing the benefits from developing a more positive attitude and a more positive outlook. And it's working. I really like what's happening. And I like the way that I'm thinking and feeling and all of this and behaving. You know, I like all of this stuff coming together. So, tips for, I'm just going to peek at the time. Okay, we're doing good for time. So, tips for a positive attitude: look for the brighter side of life, because there is a bright side of life. I used to sit back and think people with positive attitudes were absolutely amazing. They were gifts from God, and I wished I could be like them, but I just never thought it would happen. And like I said, over the last while, I've been really working hard at it, trying to check my thoughts. And it's all for me. It's only for my benefit. It doesn't matter what others see. And if they see it, great. And if they don't see it, that's fine too. This is all about me, and where I'm trying to get to is to change my attitude. Because when you start looking at things in a more positive light, more positive things start to happen. So we look for the brighter side of life. We choose to be optimistic. I get up every morning now while I'm brushing my teeth, I'm looking in the mirror, and I say to myself, because I can't say it out loud because my mouth's full of toothpaste, I choose to have a great day. I'm choosing to have a great, because it's my choice. It's my choice. So I want to say I'm choosing to have a great day. So what I'm saying is, if something happens during that day to upset my good day, I'll deal with it and I'll get back on to having my good day again. I'm not going to stay stuck and have it ruin the rest of my day. So same as I'm going to choose to be more optimistic. I'm going to choose to find the good in the day rather than focus on the bad in the day. I think over the years I got so focused on trying to find bad that I wouldn't see good anymore. And it's time to turn that. I did that long enough. Now it's time to turn that around. So I got to look and focus on the good stuff that's happening during the day and let go of the bad stuff that's happening, especially if it's not in my control. Find reasons to smile more often. So whether you read a book, watch a movie, watch a video clip, sing a song, whatever it takes to make you smile, to share a memory, that kind of stuff. We need to smile more often. Smiling is fun. Smiling feels good. It feels good in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. It feels good. It feels really good to smile. And smiling is so contagious. Frowns are not contagious. Smiling is contagious. Have faith in yourself. Cut yourself a break. There's enough people and things out there giving you a hard time. You don't need to do it too. Have faith in yourself and your abilities and your skills. Start journaling. Put things down on paper. What skills do I have? What strengths do I have? Start focusing on the positive stuff. Have faith in yourself. Associate yourself with happy people. Yes, because I guarantee happy people don't want to hang around with unhappy people. They want to hang around with happy people. Because people that are unhappy and negative tend to pull down others around them. We all know someone. We may or may not be one of them too, but I'm just saying we know how tough it can be on somebody who has a good positive attitude to spend time with somebody who has a negative attitude. Read inspiring stories and quotes. Oh, those are always so awesome. And they're feel-good stories, right? Mantras, quotes, reading quotes, finding a quote that has real meaning to you. And it becomes your mantra. It's something that you want to live towards or become or, find happiness in. Repeat affirmations that inspire and motivate you. So find those affirmations. There's all kinds of them on the internet, on Pinterest. Pinterest is an amazing site to find a lot of this stuff. Find the things that inspire you and motivate you. I always have one or two cartoon things printed off and put on my fridge. They either make me smile or they make me think or they make me aspire to want to be or to want to do. But they're things that have a meaning to me for whatever, whether it's, like I said, to make me chuckle or whatever. Visualize what you want to happen. Picture where you maybe want to be in a month from now, in 6 months from now, in a year from now, in 5 years from now. Kind of picture where you want to go. Maybe set some goals, some short-term goals and a long-term goal. Short-term goals should be set so that they're easily attainable, but they're giving you direction. So you stay focused, right, on working on those short-term goals. And if you have a few short-term goals, they might all add up to one long-term goal. But sometimes I find we're just existing. Rather than living life, we're existing. So if you're living life, you're setting goals, you're looking towards the future, you're mindful, you practice mindfulness, all these kinds of things, all of this stuff comes together. Learning to master your thoughts. That's a real big one. And it really is. And it's a matter of, and it's a little secret I'll share from living life to the full, but it's a matter of looking at the thoughts as they come into your mind. Are you in my control or not? If you're out of my control, I'm going to let you go. Okay, so you're something that's in my control. Is it a positive thought or is it a negative thought? Because if it's a negative one, I'm going to park it. I'm not even going to think about it for now. I'm just going to leave it. And then I'm going to look at what the situation is. And I'm going to work at it, figure it out. And sometimes I actually forget to go back to that negative thought. So it's so important to believe in ourselves, to know that we have the strength, the passion, the courage, the want, desire we can do all of this and become a more positive person. To what level you take it at is completely up to you, but you can become more positive. It's a matter of really trying to be able to catch those negative thoughts and turning them around, just flipping them around so that they're no longer a negative tone to you. They become far more positive. And it's being able to turn things around. And then our last lovely slide, is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being in the moment, simply being aware of what you're doing at this moment. So look at the man and the dog going for a walk in the park. The man's mind is mindful. He's got his to-do list. He's thinking about all the things he's got to do, the chores, the errands, everything else. And the dog is simply focused on the walk in the park. He's there. He's mindful. And that's what we're asking you to do, is to practice more mindfulness. And I think when you start practicing that, I think you'll feel a sense of calmness come over you that will help you develop a more positive attitude. It's really worked for me of late. I'm practicing more mindfulness, and I'm trying to do it as soon as I think about it, regardless of what it is I'm doing. I'm practicing being more mindful. So when I say more mindful, it's simply this. Stop and think that I'm going to take, let's say I'm going to take 20, 25 minutes to prepare a spaghetti dinner, some garlic bread, and a glass of wine. So let's say 25 minutes it took me to prepare that, put it all together and put it on the table. And I sit down and I begin to eat. And within 10 minutes, I'm rinsing off my plate, putting it in the dishwasher, and I head off to my next task, right? Because that's really what we do. It takes us forever to get the meal cooked, and then we just rush right through it and move on to something else. Or we're sitting in front of the TV and we're eating, and it's done in 5 to 10 minutes, and we move on to something else. The act of mindfulness is simply taking that act, the spaghetti dinner, the glass of wine, and that's what you're thinking about. That's what you're focused on. That's what you're going to appreciate. First of all, am I ever blessed? I've got food on my table. I've got wine. A lot of blessings. I was capable of making the supper myself. Then I'm going to look at the texture. I'm going to smell the food. I'm going to look at the texture. When I put that first bite in my mouth, I'm going to taste the bite. I'm going to taste the spices. I'm going to taste the meat. I'm going to taste the spaghetti noodle. The garlic bread. Oh, love garlic bread. Oh. Anyway, when I take that bite of garlic, as soon as it's coming close enough, I start to smell the garlic. I see the butter on it, right? The whole time that I'm eating, I'm focused on my plate of food, what it feels like to eat, what it feels like to start getting full, how blessed I am, how thankful I am that I have this opportunity. I look at all of that, and you know what? It's 30, 40 minutes later by the time I'm done. I get up, I rinse off my dishes, and I put them in the dishwasher. Mindfulness, the act of mindfulness, is simply, for this presentation, you were present for this presentation. You were listening to what we were talking about. You were seeing how it could apply in your life. You were questioning yourself as to whether or not you could do some of the things that were suggested. And you're looking at the benefits. You're listening to the benefits and going, yeah, oh, I want all that. I want all that, right? You're here. You're into this conversation. You're mindful of what we're talking about and what you're learning. You're mindful of that. And that's what's so important, is we're able to take the moment of time and just be there, just be present, and not thinking about all the other things that you got to do, places you got to go to, books that you have yet to read, people you got to talk to, people you have to call, all of that kind of stuff. That there's time for that later. Just be present and mindful in the moment, right here, right now. People have been working at practicing mindfulness more and more and more throughout their day, and they're lowering their blood pressure. They're lowering their blood pressure on their own. Instead of getting stressed and overworked and overexcited about a situation or event, they're just in the moment. They're just in the moment. And I'm not saying that you forget everything else that's going on. No, that's not what we're doing at all, because there's time for everything else. But just sometimes, just be in the moment. Just be in the moment sometimes. I got to the point, I love to read. I love to read. I have 3 or 4 favorite authors and I love to read. But I got to the point where I was having trouble reading a page because my mind would wander off and it was going on what work I had to do for the next week and what presentations I had coming up and what did I need to review and what did I need to put together, what did I need to do at home, what chores still I hadn't done yet. Next thing I knew, I'm like rereading and rereading and rereading the same page, and I'm going, what's going on? This isn't right here. This isn't how I do things. And so I really had to turn that around and really start bringing the mindfulness in more. And it's really helped me, like I said, with my behaviors, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, all of that. It's brought it a lot more into perspective. So, my name, Denise Miller, my phone number, my email address. If you're looking for more information or you have questions that you'd like to ask me one-on-one, that kind of thing, more than happy to get your questions. Shoot me a quick email. I'll be happy to get back to you. You'll find information at our website, cmhanb.ca, Facebook, and I believe that Nicole, put, the links are all there. They're on the chat. I'm on chat now. If anybody has anything or comment that they'd like to share, a story they'd like to share, any questions, Bridget, thank you. Yeah. Does everybody kind of understand the benefits of a positive attitude, and they see how much of an impact it can have on your life? I mean, I'll give you an example. Just thinking about COVID-19. It's a sad and horrible thing. And it was something that I never thought in my lifetime that I'd ever have to experience. But lo and behold, here it is. And we're living through it, okay? But then I sit there and I go, okay, well, what good has come out of this? Just one second here. Hello, Denise. Mindfulness leads to gratitude. Absolutely. So thank you. You're so welcome, Cynthia. Yes, very much. I was just reiterating what I was thinking. Gratitude is a very important tool as well. Absolutely. So when I sit back and I go, okay, well, what good has come out of this negative COVID thing? Okay. And I sit back and I go, well, we're being more mindful. We've had to slow down. We're having more family time. We're more thankful for our health. We're perhaps taking better care of our health. Goodness gracious, I've lost 6.5 pounds since I've been home in 5 weeks. Like, I'm pretty excited about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm eating better. I'm eating better, and every day at lunch, I go out and I take a little walk. I wasn't doing that before. So what I actually see, I see it in myself, and I do see it in others around me, that I'm actually building and creating some new healthy behaviors that I want to take forward with me into the new norm, whatever that's going to be. I want to be able to take this and bring it forward, because I think there's a lot of good that's coming out of this negative thing. And that's a perfect example of how my thoughts are turning more positive than negative, staying focused on the negative. Deborah, thank you, very informative. Being positive helps in everything from a diagnosis of a health issue to COVID-19. Absolutely. Positive of COVID, people slow down, appreciate people more, walking more. Absolutely. All these great things. I work for GNB, public safety. When will living life to the full be offered to us? Oh, I'm not sure, Bridget. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can talk with my head office about it. We'll get that set up. Pascal, one thing I mentioned to my yoga students is that mindfulness is a practice and to be gentle with oneself. Absolutely. Not going to happen overnight, people. It took us years to get to be the way we are today, so we can't expect that we're going to change overnight. but please be gentle with yourself. Yes, I agree 100%. Be kind to you. Be kind to everybody, but be kind to you too. It's very important that we recognize that, you know, we have that ability to be able to share and express all of that stuff with others, but we need to treat ourselves the same way. Good day. Would you please say again the name of the program that you mentioned during one of your slides? Do you know when the program will be online? Thank you, Denise. I'm thinking you're talking about living life to the full. And I think it's coming up at the beginning of May. So if you get on our website, cmhanb.ca, you'll see where it's coming up, and you'll have an opportunity there to register. I'm planning on doing one too, coming up in the near future for youth, for teenagers, hoping that I'll be able to get some kids to join in. And if we don't have enough, maybe I'll be able to flip it to another youth one or adult one. So. Rose, enjoy your webinars. Denise, thank you. You're a wonderful speaker. Thank you, Rose. Thanks, Denise. I agree with all that you said. Being positive makes such a big difference in dealing with everything this precious life gives us. Yes. And Kristen, yes, I agree to see all the smaller silver linings now and always. Thank you so much. Look, you guys are amazing, and I love that you keep joining, and Tara, thank you too. I love that you guys keep coming on and joining me for more webinars. I don't think I have anything scheduled now till May, so if I don't see you again soon, there are lots of other of my coworkers that are on there that are offering some amazing webinars too, so please join them. I recommend a good book, In Praise of Slow by Carl Honor, about how a worldwide movement is challenging the cult of speed. I need to be in a slower pace to be mindful. This is a great time to change focus. Good luck, everyone. Our minds will turn negative energy to good. Absolutely. Thanks for being open and vulnerable with your stories. Great webinar, Pascal. You're very welcome. My pleasure. Always happy to share. I'm in an assisted living home in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I love these webinars. Thanks. You're very welcome, Joette. Thank you, Denise. You're welcome. This was one of the best webinars for me. Great, Frank. I'm happy to hear that. And like I said, go to YouTube too, because I've done a few of them, different topics. I did one on anxiety last week, maxed out at 100. I had 158 that signed up. I took the first 100. So that one I think is on there, and if it's not on there, it should be there soon. I've also done self-esteem. I did, well, I can't remember them all now, but check out our YouTube channel too, and the links are at the beginning of the chat here. So yeah, you'll find all that information there, and some other great webinars that you can watch, and all this kind of information. We love to share this with you guys, and this is what we do. This is what we love to do. All my co-workers and I, and we're out all over the province, and we're constantly, you know, going out and sharing this information and having conversations with you guys, and all of this. It's good. We need to have the conversation. We need to talk. So, all right. So I'm going. Are there any other questions from anybody? We're all good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to ask you to just stay for those few seconds and just to do that that quick survey for me. I would so much appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a kind day.